Alrighty folks, just going to cover some stuff on area and volume, and really there's nothing really new here, and kind of goes back a little bit to what we were talking about in last chapter in terms of converting square units and cube units in between systems. For example, if we had a rectangle that had certain dimensions, it's really easy for us to figure out the area, in square meters, for example. That's a very basic calculation. Been doing that for a long time already. But a little more challenging if you want to figure it out in, say, square inches or square feet. And so to do that, you kind of have two different options. You could convert each one of these dimensions into feet or feet or inches, and then calculate the area. And so I'll show you how to do that. That's pretty simple. You can do that on your own, I'm sure, as well. So for example, 14 meters becomes 46 feet, and then 6 meters becomes 20 feet. I'm doing a bunch of rounding just to the nearest foot, but then you can go through and put those dimensions on your rectangle and find the area in square feet. And you get 920 feet squared, or square feet. And that's fine, that works, but you're converting every dimension using the same conversion factor. So right here, for example, you'll see it divided by 0.3048, and do the same thing here. And if we're doing a volume situation where you have three different dimensions, and you're dividing, divided by 0.3048 three times, and you could just use a single conversion factor just to simply convert meters squared to feet squared. But it's not as simple as just dividing or multiplying by 0.3048, because 1 meter squared is not the same, obviously, as 1 meter. The conversion from feet to meters is different than the conversion from square feet to square meters. And just to kind of highlight this, I showed you last time how we do this already, but here's an example of explaining how they're different. Look at this square here. So consider, for example, a square that has dimensions 1 meter by 1 meter. The area, very simply, 1 times 1, 1 meter squared. But if you wanted to figure out the area in square feet, you could figure out what the dimensions were in feet rather than in meters. And with a simple conversion, we can figure out that 1 meter is the same as 3.28 feet. And so therefore, the area of this square is 10.76 square feet. So in other words, the conversion then from square feet to square meters, or vice versa, is simply 1 meter squared equals 10.76 square feet. Okay, and so you can use that for any problem now where you have to convert between square meters and square feet. As a matter of fact, we can do it with the problem we just finished looking at. So we see here that the area of this rectangle is 84 square meters. Using the conversion factor we just finished figuring out, we can work out the area of this rectangle in square feet without converting the individual dimensions. So it saves us a little bit of time. Okay, and we get the answer 904 square feet. You remember that when we first did this the previous time, we got an answer of 920 square feet. So maybe you're thinking, oh, there's a big mistake there. Well, keep in mind that when I converted these dimensions into feet, I rounded to the nearest foot. And whenever you write down a number, you automatically start rounding because you don't write down all the decimals. Even this number right here has been rounded to 2 decimal places, but there's more after that. The problem with converting each individual dimension is that you do rounding twice, right? Whereas here, I'm just kind of doing it once. And so you could get, I mean, if you keep all the numbers in your calculator, it doesn't really matter anyways. But it's a little bit easier to just kind of figure out the area in square meters. And then if you know this should be 10.76, sorry. If you know the conversion from square meters to square feet, then you can just use that. And it's one conversion versus two, and you probably get a more accurate answer. So in the next video, then I'm going to have you try figuring out a conversion for square units and cube units, and then let you try an example there. So I think just one more video, and then you'll be done for today.